There you go. Everything good? Just finish us up then. Absolutely. Good. Good. So, gents, in the next 10, 15, 20 years, where do you see yourself and what influences where you envision yourself?
I want to be a maritime lawyer, so I believe I'll be a lawyer, probably running my own firm specializing in maritime law. And also, I want to probably be married or planning on getting married with the hopes of creating my own family. So I want to be financially free. I want to be able to create success, and not only success, but wealth for my family and to live a good life.
So, for the younger gents, how often do you feel genuinely supported by family, by friends, by mentors?
As a young guy, basically, I believe that society has it whereas young men, they don't deserve that type of attention. You have to be strong, you have to be a man, and I believe that that stigma, it should be swayed away because young men too do deserve a little bit of pampering.
Men in this society, when they show emotion, it's considered weak in certain instances. As a young man, how do you give me advice to express my emotions without feeling emasculated?
You were spot on with something just now, and I think that's what Man's Month is all about. You're talking about breaking the stigma, and you said it. You said it as we were young men growing up, or young boys. It was always toughen up, be a man. That's what being a man is all about. If somebody passes away, toughen up. That's part of life. Be a man. We were always taught no matter what happened, toughen up, be a man. And then the other thing is we're not able to like express our feelings. You know what I mean, Theodore? We are always enclosed. That's why even just in relationships in general, the two things that I always to say break up relationships, finances sometimes is one, and then not being able to communicate properly. So we don't have that emotional intelligence to really express our feelings.
And that's important as a
And that's
person on the
important.
whole.
I'll give you a joke. Like me, I'm not afraid to show my emotions, right? I had to talk to persons growing up. Like I said, I lost my mom at a very young age. I had trauma in my life, right? So I'm used to persons actually coming to give me advice. You shouldn't feel that way if you're in that position. And I like what you said earlier. You said that you can always go to your mom or your dad for advice, right? That's a safe space, right? You should feel comfortable around them any situation. So I think that you actually have a fair advantage over a lot of persons, and you should take advantage of that. You said that you appreciate that they always listen to you, so that's good. So I don't think as men we should feel dumbed down or feel less of a man because we showing our emotions and we actually showing our feelings because society may have it wrong. All of us need to be have someone to talk to. But at the end of the day, we are humans. We are still humans, right? So you just have to learn how to manage that emotion, find someone to talk to.
It's called emotional intelligence.
Emotional
But that's how you increase relationships. That's how you increase relationships by talking constantly with someone, even in a marriage or when you're dating. If you're not constantly speaking to that person, you open up the door for whatever may come. But you don't formulate a bond, and that's how we are in Scotiabank. To be honest, we believe in deepening relationships, by constant communication with our clients, and that's the only way that the bond is fostered, that trust is gained, and it's the same thing when it comes to relationships. By speaking with somebody daily, by being emotionally intelligent, taking off the mask or letting down your hair, and that's how you overcome challenges. Because you never know. By you speaking to me, I may be able to say, hey, I remember when I was starting off, when I was starting university or college, I experienced the same exact thing. And this is how I pushed through the wall. And I may be able to pass it on to you. And then you, when the time flips and you're sitting on the opposite side, you're able to pass that on to somebody else.
Paying it forward, right?
Paying it forward.
Paying it forward, yeah. How important you think it is to have a man's presence in the home, and what role does he play in that family?
I believe it's crucial, it's extremely important because everything starts from home, and with only having a female or a mother in the home, there isn't really a balance. So the child now lacks the support from a father that only a father can give, and a mother can. I mean, she could play the father and the mother role, but really only a father know how to be a father. So with lacking that role, it poses as a high disadvantage for the individual, and we see that plague in our society today with the high crime rates and gang violence and all type of situations that could be avoided.
Right. And by extension, right? I mean, you may not necessarily have a father in your home, but some male figure, right?
Yeah.
Some older mentor, some person to actually guide you along the way. So that male presence in the home, I should have said, right, is extremely important. As young men, we have to build up one another as well, so that we can continue on these generations.
Give us some advice on banking and trying to better ourselves as a young man. What should we know from now to help us to navigate and make better decisions when going down that road?
So Theo, um, young man in school, very hard worker. You say you're a senior associate now with Scotia Trust, right? So for these young men, what type of advice and guidance you would give them as young men also in university, just graduating school, getting their life started? You were there. You mentioned earlier that you graduated from CV Bethel, right? Get them some advice how you would have navigated to get where you are right now.
So definitely for me, it wasn't easy. I actually started University of the Bahamas in 2018. I dropped out because one, I couldn't afford it, and then two, Scotiabank called me. After I dropped out the first time, I never envisioned myself back into the university in fall 2023. The reason why I went back is because that I know I'm capable of handling more. The degree is also important, not just working. Working in a bank is fine, but only so high you can go without that degree. So I made the sacrifice. So my personal life, work life, I have to balance school. I'm also a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. So all of these things they have to balance, and that's where time blocking is so important. So you have to have a time for your personal life. You have to know when to cut off from work. So as Lavon said, work is important because it brings in the money. The money is needed. The money is good, but you have to block off and only allocate so much time to work, to school, to personal life because you have to juggle everything, right? And if you pay attention to one thing for so long, everything else suffer. So you have to find that median, whereas you can give peace to every aspect of your life, and keep it pushing.
Well, I'd say it isn't the amount. It's the principle, right? So okay, you may say, oh, I want to save for this, or I want to save for that, right? Never think about the amount that you're saving. Just get into the practice, get into the habit of making it a discipline that you set something aside. If you're spending your money loosely, lavishly, you won't have anything for a rainy day, right?
Budgeting. Yeah.
Budgeting, perfect. So set a budget. I'm going to put this $20 aside. That's towards my property fund in the next 5, 10 years. You have to budget and prioritize. I learned that as a young man growing up. Prioritize is some things that you won't get to do, right? But you'll benefit in the long run. So I think prioritizing, budgeting, like Lavar said, those are two key steps. And the discipline saving, it could be $1. Just get into the habit of saving, and then you'll see the benefit in the long run.
When life starts to happen, when like we like to say in the Bahamas, when life start life in, when things don't go your way, how do you respond? How do you react?
Me, I try to ask for help. I ask my parents for help, ask for assistance. Most of the time they do give it to me. Be thankful for that. And sometimes, do some research, probably listen to music or something. Just don't get, stressed out or depressed or anything, just try to keep yourself calm.
We touched a little bit on family, right? How do you think mental health will impact a family in this day and age? Let's say sisters, brothers, mother, father. Pressure, the man feels pressure to provide, or he lost his job. He can't provide for his family. The pressures of life is just getting to him. What do you think that does to a family?
Going to get checked does not just have to do with physically.
Right,
You
mental.
have exactly
Yeah.
counseling, therapy, even if you need to go to a psychiatrist, it's important because you have your whole family relying on you. As a man, even like you are the pillar of your family. So yeah, you have those people that you can turn to rely on at some point, but you have to make sure that at the end of the day, you are mentally stable so that if anything happens with your family, you can be stable enough to support. If your wife's going through something, you can be stable enough to support her. You can't tell her, oh, go to therapy, go see a counselor. You have to make that change in and of yourself, and then your family will see, okay, he's dealing with it this way. Maybe I can learn from that and deal with that in this way as well because it's working. And this is something that I should keep carrying on. I can start the cycle by going and starting therapy right now so that people can see how beneficial therapy is.
Listening to the news today, it could be very scary, right? How do you feel? What is your mental state? Just knowing that I can be a statistic.
It honestly hurts, like seeing the young men of this generation, like we're so likely to be caught up in either violence or just an accident. Something's happening to us all the time.
Right.
And it's like, as a young man myself, I want to be able to uplift others. I want us to be able to reach a higher standard of humanity together. But with how much we have to face as men, it's all just kind of tearing us down. Like sometimes we have to start working early instead of pursuing an education. Sometimes we just get caught up in the wrong crowds because we're social creatures. We want that support system that society isn't too eager to give to us. So we turn to our boys, we look to them for advice and stuff like that. And sometimes because they're young and impressionable, they often lead their friends down the wrong path as well. So it just hurts to see it. It really kind of inspires me to keep trying to do what I do, try to change the world one person at a time.
Have you ever heard they said it takes a village to raise a child, right? So, I grew up with a father figure, but not my biological father, my own. So I had my uncles and my sister grew me up, right? And her husband was always there for me. So I had that father figure in my life. So growing up then compared to now, I learned a lot of the traits in their home that I grew up in. And now I try to mimic that in the home that I'm in because I was always supported, right? I was always given the opportunity, like this young man said. He would always go to his parents for help and for assistance, and they was always there to answer and help him walk through some of those challenges. So compared to then and now, I got the support. So my job now, as an adult, is to help. I have 3 boys, to talk to them, to give them that same guidance that I got. It's only fair, right? So hopefully one day they could be better off than I am, and that's my goal. So, gents, I think today we had an awesome dialogue, awesome conversation. I'm excited about Men's Month. November 19th, we celebrate Men's Month. So, I think this conversation was excellent. Find the same type of setting to speak to persons like yourself so we could keep this going. So, guys, I think it's a good idea if we get up and give each other a hug. Bring it in. Men's Month. Men's Month. All right.